Jimmy Cliff, the singer, songwriter, actor, and global ambassador of reggae whose unmistakable voice carried the spirit of Jamaica across continents, has died at the age of 81. The news felt like a tremor rippling through the world of music. A moment where millions paused, remembering how many chapters of their lives unfolded to the sound of his warm, vibrant voice. His wife Latifah Chambers confirmed the heartbreaking news on Instagram, writing with visible grief and trembling affection, "It's with profound sadness that I share that my husband, Jimmy Cliff, has crossed over due to a seizure followed by pneumonia. I am thankful for his family, friends, fellow artists and co-workers who have shared his journey with him. To all his fans around the world, please know that your support was his strength throughout his whole career. Jimmy, my darling, may you rest in peace. I will follow your wishes." The message bore not only the emotional weight of a wife losing her husband, but also a family's tribute, as their children Lilty and Aiken added their names beneath her words. It was not just an announcement, but a farewell shaped by love, gratitude, and the kind of quiet disbelief that comes when a giant of music finally leaves the stage for the last time. The news spread quickly, and in every corner of the world, people reacted with the kind of raw emotion reserved only for legends who have been part of the human soundtrack for generations. With timeless hits like You Can Get It If You Really Want, I Can See Clearly Now, Wonderful World, Beautiful People, and so many others, Jimmy Cliff wasn't merely a performer. He was a messenger, someone whose music reached across borders, language barriers, and cultural divides. His sound blended optimism with struggle, hope with pain, and joy with the harsh realities of life. There was something magical in the way he sang, a tone that carried the DNA of Jamaica, the soul of reggae, and the resilience of someone who came from humble beginnings, yet transformed himself into a global icon. More than a singer, Jimmy Cliff was also a groundbreaking actor whose role in the 1972 Jamaican crime drama The Harder They Come solidified him as a cultural force beyond the boundaries of music. That film, gritty and fearless in its portrayal of Jamaican life, became the foundation of Jamaican cinema. It introduced countless viewers to the country's culture, struggles, humor, and humanity through the eyes of a young musician fighting for recognition. Cliff's natural acting ability and electrifying presence made the character unforgettable. The film not only brought reggae into global consciousness but also served as a time capsule of Jamaican society during that era. And Cliff stood at the center of it with unshakable charisma. It is almost impossible to talk about the evolution of reggae, ska, or even the global perception of Jamaican music without placing his name at the forefront. His contributions were so immense that he became one of the rare musicians awarded the Jamaican Order of Merit, one of the highest honors bestowed by the nation, given only to individuals whose work has reshaped culture and left a legacy for future generations. Standing alongside icons like Bob Marley, Cliff earned his place through decades of discipline, innovation, and the kind of sincerity in his music that could not be replicated or manufactured. Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness captured the gravity of the moment in his tribute, calling Cliff a true cultural giant whose music carried the heart of our nation to the world. Holness reflected on how deeply Cliff's art touched people, saying, "Jimmy Cliff told our story with honesty and soul. His music lifted people through hard times, inspired generations, and helped to shape the global respect that Jamaican culture enjoys today." In that statement, there was acknowledgement not only of Cliff the musician but Cliff the storyteller, the activist, the representative of a nation's identity and dreams. To understand the greatness of Jimmy Cliff, one must return to where his journey began. He was born in St. James, Jamaica, in 1944, long before reggae became a world phenomenon, before the island found its voice in global music, before young Jamaican artists were celebrated internationally. He grew up in an environment where life was simple but difficult, filled with the sounds of local rhythms, church hymns, and the struggle and joy of everyday people. From a very young age, music was his escape, his inspiration, and his language. It flowed through him naturally, as though he had been born with a melody already in his chest. His music career truly began in the early 1960s after he moved to Kingston, the bustling capital of Jamaica. This move would shape his destiny. Kingston at that time was a melting pot of creativity, poverty, rebellion, and musical revolution. Sound systems blasted into the night, hopeful singers lined up outside studios, and a new wave of Caribbean music was forming. Cliff, with big dreams and an even bigger voice, became part of this movement. He soon crossed paths with producer Leslie Kong, a moment that would later be described as one of the most important partnerships in early Jamaican music history. Kong's family owned a record shop called Beverly's, and in a bold, clever move that foreshadowed the confidence he would carry throughout his life, Cliff wrote a song that name-checked the store. It was his way of getting Kong's attention, a musical pitch before the era of emails, social media, or official auditions. This gesture worked. Kong listened. He recognized Cliff's raw talent, his ambition, and his potential to become a defining voice of the island. Their collaboration became legendary. Not only did Kong become a key figure in reggae production, but Cliff became one of his brightest discoveries, a young star who would someday help bring Jamaican music to global audiences. From there, Cliff's career moved with astonishing momentum. He was young, gifted, and determined, and those three ingredients fueled a rise that felt both natural and revolutionary. His voice was unlike anything the world had heard, rich yet smooth, emotional yet controlled, filled with passion but grounded in clarity. When he sang, it felt like a conversation. His songs were stories, confessions, lessons, and celebrations, all woven into melodies that lifted spirits even when the lyrics addressed hardship. Throughout the late 1960s and early 1970s, Cliff traveled the world, performing for audiences who had never before experienced reggae on such an intimate and powerful level. He carried Jamaica with him wherever he went. Every show became a cultural exchange, a moment when people from different backgrounds encountered the vibrancy, struggle, and beauty of a small island nation through the voice of one man. It was Jimmy Cliff, not yet the household name he would become, who helped reggae plant its roots globally even before Bob Marley's meteoric rise. In many ways, Cliff was the bridge opening doors so that reggae could walk into the world with confidence. His hit Wonderful World, Beautiful People became an anthem of peace and positivity during a time of global unrest. At a time when political tensions, wars, and social revolutions were unfolding around the world, Cliff's music offered hope. His message was simple but profound. Despite everything happening around us, the world still held beauty, people still possessed goodness, and unity was still possible. That message resonated with millions, making the song a worldwide hit. Then there was You Can Get It If You Really Want, perhaps one of the most universally inspirational songs ever recorded. Generations of listeners embraced its message of perseverance, determination, and self-belief. It became a soundtrack for personal triumphs, social movements, and national milestones. When people overcame challenges, celebrated victories, or sought motivation, Cliff's voice was the one pushing them forward. Later, I Can See Clearly Now became yet another classic associated with him, a song that embodied hope after hardship, clarity after confusion, and peace after struggle. Cliff had a gift for capturing universal emotions in simple lyrics and soulful melodies. It was this gift that made him timeless. But Jimmy Cliff's influence went beyond music. His role in The Harder They Come made him an international cultural figure. The film's raw realism shocked audiences, especially those outside Jamaica, who had never before seen such a gritty depiction of life on the island. It explored corruption, inequality, ambition, and the desire for freedom, issues that resonated far beyond Jamaica's borders. Cliff played the role of Ivanhoe Martin with a depth that hinted at his own understanding of the world's injustice. His portrayal was magnetic and deeply human, making the character relatable even in his flaws.